back to Double Take. I'm James Quan, joined once again by Dylan McCaffrey. Same two guys, but filming at a new location, your house.
Yes, sir. Finally secured that home court advantage. This week, we're going to be talking about some changes in Major League Baseball. Then we try to survive the zombie apocalypse. Before our deep dive, we ask whether tanking works in the NFL.
First things first, though, we got to talk about our big surprises from the first 2 rounds of the NBA bubble.
So the NBA bubble so far has been a massive success, but not all the teams can say that about their seasons. Teams like the Bucks, the Rockets, the Clippers probably wish they could have a few of those games back.
Game 8.
Some tough losses, some unexpected streaks of greatness. James, what has stood out to you the most?
First of all, I'm going to start that Clippers series, obviously, but I want more focus on the Nuggets here. Jamal Murray is this guy who we didn't think he was going to be. He's always been a guy, he's clutch, he comes up in that moment for them, when it really matters, but these 40, 50-point games he's stringing along, where he's really carrying this team offensively over the course of the game, being that guy. It's a really welcome sight for me, but it's not something I expected. I didn't expect that leap to be taken this year.
I think that all eyes were on Skinny Jokic heading into these playoffs, and Jokic has been good. That game 7, he clutched it out.
Oh, 100%.
But Jamal Murray's been carrying this team. He did not show up last playoffs, and he has definitely showed up this year. That Donovan Mitchell series was one of the most entertaining things I've seen.
Oh, 100%. And I think that Jokic being this guy who can take over offensively and facilitate. If we have a scorer like Murray that is going to be more consistent and, showing this dominance that we haven't seen him show before, this Nuggets team is going to be scary. Even for a team like the Lakers, you want to say that this could be a competitive series. I think the Lakers are going to beat them 100%.
I think so as well, but I thought the Clippers were going to beat them. The Clippers, what the hell happened?
I think
they have every piece they need. What are they?
It comes back to entitlement. It really does. It's coming in thinking that you are like, oh yeah, of course we're gonna get that shot at LeBron. Of course.
Yeah.
Because we're worth that. Because we are that. Because we are that LeBron buster team that everyone thought we were going to be. And you keep believing that, and then it's almost like in football when you would run without catching the ball.
Yeah.
You gotta catch the ball and run.
Yeah.
All right. This is a prime example.
They were
looking at LeBron. They want to run down the field. They didn't even catch the ball yet. And
Pat Bev and Marcus Morris telling Dame about Cancun in the regular season like they were going to go to the finals or something.
Listen, you look at these guys, what if it's Donovan Mitchell showing heart out there with Jamal Murray showing heart? I saw no passion of play from the Clippers. I saw no drive. I saw no... It maybe comes back to team chemistry. But maybe that's why load management is flawed during this seasons where you really need to build as much chemistry as possible. Kawhi comes into the Raptors because they already have enormous chemistry. Nick Nurse is not going to allow that not to happen. He could be inserted into that. This is a whole new team. This is a whole new environment for this Clippers team. Like, they're finally coming in with expectations. Obviously, you need some time to gel.
Paul George, we said before the bubble, we called Paul George out, called him a bum, and he proved us right. George Paul, Pandemic P, Damian Lillard called him a chump for running, switching teams whenever it gets hard. You think that Paul George walks this year? He didn't make the finals again?
It's literally, I want to go back to Paul George. I don't want to let him off the hook. You cannot run from situations where things get hard and expect you to last in these moments. Mm-hmm. All right? You're at the Pacers, you don't think you beat LeBron. You're at Thunder, you don't think you win with Russell Westbrook or come out of the West. You keep running away from these things when adversity comes your way, and you're just going to find yourself choking at every single given playoff. Because who did the Nuggets beat? The Jazz. Who handed playoff P maybe his worst, before this, his worst, playoff loss? The Jazz. And this is what you're going to get to. You're going to be running in circles. You're not going to be that guy who comes up for your team when they need you. And to be honest, this Clippers team had leads going into in 5, in Game 6, even in Game 7 had leads.
Yep.
So obviously, you're right. It's not ability. It's mental wherewithal.
The Clippers will be back for sure. The Rockets, I'm not as sure. I don't know if that team has reached the peak of whatever they're trying to do over there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that you could... They find themselves very similar to the Sixers as an expensive, above-average team, slightly above-average team.
Yeah. That
I don't think is going past the second round. And your star players need to be able to shoot. In the last 10 years, no one has won the title unless you have a bevy of shooters or you have LeBron.
They have shooters.
That's it.
But I think what they're missing, James Harden said they're one piece away. I think that piece is a stretch 5 that can shoot. I think that they traded in Capella for Robert Covington. They just went all into this PJ Tucker's playing center. Mm-hmm. And like everyone predicted, when you find LeBron James and Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard in the paint, and all you've got is PJ Tucker, it doesn't last for a 7-game series. I think that Clint Capella play where they would just run a pick and roll and give him the little lob to finish the alley-oop, that was important to their offense to just like get to the rim, as opposed to James Harden has the ball, they force him to pass it out to Tucker or Covington, and those two guys have to make all the threes. They have to keep making shots. You're relying on your role players.
Yeah, I do agree. I think they're one piece away. Do you think the Mavs are one piece away?
I think the Mavs, I don't think that Kristaps can be the second best player because, I mean, they basically went the whole series without him. Like, he didn't play a factor at all. He got ejected, he got hurt, and you see Luka going out there putting on a show.
He was killing it in the bubble. He is an amazing player when he's healthy, but he is too fragile, I think, to rely on as the 2.
Yeah.
If he's your 2, you're going to be relying on just your 1 half the season, which is a problem. I mean, obviously, with people opting out, with people like Bojan and other people, this playoffs was definitely altered a little bit.
I think that the biggest surprise to me we haven't talked about yet is that the 1 and 2 seeds in the East both fell. First, the Bucks. The Bucks, they look bad. Like, I thought they were a championship team. Giannis is not it, apparently. He's not enough.
Dude, your star player needs to be able to shoot. Your stars need to be able to shoot. You can have shooters, but your stars... It's the modern day NBA.
Yeah. I'm
sorry, like if you're Russell and this is 2005, you're probably the best player in the league. You're probably up there, but you can't. The times have changed, and I think that you have to look at a guy like Giannis and say like, it's adapt or die in this world.
He got hurt and they won that game. So like I don't even know if it's like Chris Middleton went off. Like I don't think Chris Middleton can be the second best player on a championship team. But I think there's a version of that team with and without Giannis. And the one that runs around Giannis like got stopped in the playoffs because it didn't work just having him have the ball all the time. And then the team without Giannis like is just a regular team that has shooters and stretches the floor and
moves the ball.
It works like it won them a game, but you need to find a way to make it work with Giannis. I think you have to go get Chris Paul. I think they need a star.
Chris Paul would be awesome.
If Giannis leaves and joins the super team, we're gonna see another Warriors like league ruining era.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, what if Giannis goes to the Heat or the Lakers? Like, please no. Why is everyone rooting for this?
Don't ruin the parity while we still have it, because I think we have it right now. I mean, one thing's for sure, the NBA's done a great job adapting to these challenging and unique times and made every necessary change. On the other hand, the MLB might be the most stubborn league in existence, and you know the changes that came this year were out of pure necessity. But Rob Manfred did make some changes to this season, and we want to figure out, is it an overreaction to say that more changes are to come? After a few months of pure ineptitude by Rob Manfred, the MLB season has finally taken off and is well on its way. But these changes, again, were out of pure necessity, like a 60-game season, while other changes like a universal DH were definitely a welcome sight. But we want to figure out, is Rob Manfred going to keep hitting us with changes, or is this MLB just going to stay the way it is?
I, for one, am a huge fan of all the changes. I think that the universal DH is long overdue.
Long overdue.
I think that a shorter season, I think that it should be in the conversation. I think maybe it should happen.
I think 90 games might be a sweet spot of like, it's still a marathon, there's still plenty of games to be played, but rarity increases value in anything.
Totally.
Whether it's some dumb Supreme hoodie or whether it's sports games, you look at NFL, people have to watch 1 out of 16 games. It's just so important. And 90 games, the games are good. There's plenty of time to adapt and see who you got to call up, the adjustments being made, but it's also like 90 games, and now one game means a little bit more, and I think that's going to do a lot for the league.
I think that, it will increase baseball's value by a ton. The games mean more, and they're shorter. I think that the pitch clock, like you've been saying, needs to be more implemented. Most of a baseball game, the most amount of time is spent between pitches, and so if we can cut that down, it takes nothing away from the game, and you can finally make it shorter. Everyone had so much pushback to make any kind of changes, but there's some logical ones that just need to happen.
Yeah, I mean, literally, where do you go to make these games shorter? Where is the first place you go? It's in between game action.
Yeah.
Which is, a pitch clock is just going to make that faster. And I think if you enforce this thing in a serious way, changes will come. And my thing is like, I know that players are going to hate it initially. Players probably hated the 3-point line initially and said, this is terrible, why are we doing this? And you're like, 10 years later, you're like, oh, this is actually the best thing for the league. And now our game will be pushed forward as time goes on. That's a thing that the MLB has never done. And I think it's just, players might hate it for a few years, but they're going to get used to it. We're players' league guys.
Yeah.
We're players' rights guys, 100%.
Everyone knows.
But sometimes you gotta give the vegetables to the kid, right? You can't give them what they want.
Yeah.
It's what's good for them.
Because you know what's better for them. You know it's what's better in the long run. If we have shorter seasons, more playoff teams, universal DH, like it's gonna be a more fun league to watch.
No, I'm down for, and I am down for more playoff teams, especially the way that the wild cards work. You know, you work a whole 162 game season to secure this wild card game spot. It seems like a weird, not like the payoff doesn't really seem to be there. I think that if we have restructuring the playoff system a little bit would be a really cool thing, but I think it comes secondary to things like a man on second with extra innings, 7-game doubleheaders, pitch clock. These things are changes that I really do think go a super long way just in game flow, that you don't really have to like shock the whole, you don't have to shake the whole thing up, you know?
I feel like people's accomplishments over a 162 game season get diluted, and like legends and stars are really made in the playoffs. So if you have more playoff teams, guys like your MVP Mike Trout can like finally make it into a wild card game and like do something important, as opposed to his accomplishments over 160 game seasons have gone unnoticed by everyone who is not a baseball fan in all of sports. Mike Trout is the least popular MVP in any league.
And you top 5 all-time least popular MVP. Like a guy who is perennially the best person in his sport.
Ratio of like talent and charisma to like popularity has never been this drastic.
Has never been this crazy. And I do think that the MLB can do more to show personality, right? I don't think you have to change up the whole entire game in order to have people be more of a fan, to have more young kids be interested in this game. They just need to be interested in the personalities. It's the thing about the NBA. Why is there these storylines, this drama, this almost like theatrical experience? Because these guys have personalities, you know them, and that's something that literally the NFL does better. Yet the players wearing helmets and it being such a team game. The baseball can do these things where even if it's MLB following Mike Trout playing golf or fishing, it's going to do a lot for players just saying, hey, that guy's like me. That guy, I can identify with. I want to root for that guy, not just that guy's good at baseball.
I want to see more fighting. I want to see more players in each other's faces. I want to see Tatis hitting grand slams up by 10 runs just to shove it in the guys' faces. I want to see drama. That's what we came for. The Astros drama brought so much attention to baseball. Like, they want to make this the gentleman's game there's always been. No, lean into the drama, lean into the adapt. You got to adapt or die.
Yeah, I want more people hitting grand slams when they're up by 7 runs in the 8th. Like, I want disrespect. It's weird to say that because it's such a, like you said, gentleman's game, unwritten rules, and I get that's what's made America love baseball. But America's changed. Sports fans have changed, and the way that you create intrigue has changed. And we gotta adapt with the times, right?
Adapt or die. Adapt or die. That's all it is. Major League Baseball has never been good at adapting, and we're trying to keep them from dying. We want to look next at a situation where it is literally adapt or die. Long awaited for. It's finally time for the zombie apocalypse edition of Out of a Hat.
Like we said before, this is truly a life or death scenario. The roles that we assigned are a leader, a killer or hunter, a wild card, and a morale guy just to keep everything together. We figure if you nail it with these categories, you just might have a chance of surviving. Dylan, I'll let you pick first.
All right, so these are like some World War Z zombies. These zombies are not playing around. Like, it's
Mad Max plus zombie apocalypse. So food's scarce. Everyone's driving around in these crazy knife mobiles.
We're a couple months in at this point. Like this crew found each other. We didn't start off.
No one has anything that.
My leader, shout out Miami. My leader for this pack. Any NBA coach right now.
That's a pretty good one for leader. I'm surprised you got this.
That is a good one for leader. So the coach of the year, it was Nick Nurse, right?
Take Nick Nurse.
I watched Nick Nurse spaz out for every single playoff game. He worked up a sweat, was like playing defense on guys for some reason. So he's the smartest coach, but I don't think I can go with him.
He's not going to survive one day.
I'm going to go with a guy that is going to catch a lot of heat. I can't go with Pop because Pop's too old.
You're about to pick Doc Rivers.
I'm about to pick Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is a young man. He's got some wind left in him. He's in good shape. He can outrun these zombies. He's also just a tactical genius. If we need an inbounds play, if we need like a play to like get through a parking garage was full of zombies, Brad Stevens is drawing that up. We're going to set a screen here. We're going to take the outside corner. Brad Stevens, genius / leader. Hopefully he proves me right in the next couple of days. More so.
I feel like If he's the most elfish, dude. I feel like he can't fight anything. I mean, he's not your fighter, but
he's the leader.
Surviving this?
He's the leader. He's the mastermind. He's planning it all. He's the most level-headed. He's not.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the level-headedness. You need that when you're getting chased by zombies. You haven't been taken out yet, and I think leader, NBA coach for leader.
Yeah.
They got the intangibles. They got the job for leader. So I'm feeling pretty good though. The mascot of any professional sports team. No. You're celebrating this now. You're celebrating this now. But I know that there's a good answer in here. Mascot for sports.
Maybe for the hunter, the killer, you could have gone with Gritty or something, but
could have gone with that Flyers guy.
Yeah.
Intimidation. Oh, mascot.
Mascots famously mute.
They're famously mute, but they're really good with communicating with their hands. That's their whole job, is that they communicate with their hands. You can't hear everything in the midst of a zombie battle, right?
Yeah. Zombies, I mean, I'm sure that the mascot suit... I don't know if a mascot could be turned into a zombie, per se, the mascot itself.
That's true, because you're taking the embodiment. I'm going with the Phillies guy.
The Philly Fanatic?
I'm going with the Philly Fanatic. Some guy, he has the most options to communicate non-verbally. He's got the tongue, he's got the belly shake, I'm making the best out of a tough draw. He's got the most ways to communicate. Tongue means our killer goes in for, here, belly shake means something else, but also, can even a zombie attack?
He's pretty ruthless with that belly. The zombie comes running up, he gives him a little belly hit.
I've seen that guy drive an ATV. I've seen him do more things than your mascot has ever done.
He's an athlete. He's a talented guy.
He's done a lot. He's taken a lot of beatings over the years from different athletes. I think he has character from that.
He's a savage.
I think he's a guy who's been through a lot, has seen it all, and he's gonna be able to communicate.
I feel like he's gonna be able to exist in this post-apocalyptic, like gritty, like
kind of fits, doesn't he?
Like he doesn't give a shit about anyone.
Yeah, I think we both got a little tough leaders, but so sometimes you on a team with a bad coach and you still get the job done.
This next one is my killer, is my hunter, whoever is going to be doing the bulk of the fighting for us, and it is going to be any common New England animal. Oh boy. Common New England animal. I think I saw a bear on Commonwealth Ave the other day. I think I saw a wolf out in the... Jeez. Any animal. It's my fighter? Any common animal. I'm thinking about like a dog or something, like a pet. Because I don't
want to give it away, but there's one really good answer here.
I mean, if there's a good answer, it's not coming to my mind. I've seen like some tiny little coyotes and stuff.
Why don't you go off your gut?
All right, my gut says, can I pick a dog's common? It's a pet.
Yeah, sure. Pick a dog.
Okay, I want a golden retriever.
Is your killer? Is your hunter?
Yes.
Okay, now that you made your pick, I want to say you could have picked a moose.
Are those common in New England? I've never seen a moose.
They're more common than any other place.
I've never seen a moose.
Okay, whatever. Okay. Golden retriever. What's a golden retriever gonna do?
He's gonna be the scout. Does he have the sense of smell? He'll go and bite the guys. Also, I want to be happy in this book office world. I have Brad Stevens and a golden retriever. What more could you want in life?
Oh my gosh, you're dead in 2 days.
Brad's sitting there on the porch with petting the golden retriever. We're just singing camp songs and kumbaya.
I think what this has become is how do you spend your last days in the most pleasurable way? And you're just a New England kid.
All right, Mr. Philly Fanatic, let's hear
You're like, I want to spend time with my dream head coach and a golden retriever and die in peace. Okay, Philly Fanatic and anyone from the 1992 NBA Dream Team.
Killer.
There's a lot of killers in that team.
Yeah.
I think MJ's too easy. That's too easy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do like, oh, MJ's a killer on and off the court. I'm going Charles Barkley.
Chuck?
I go in Charles Barkley. Kind of some reasons the golden retriever. I want to be happy. I think these categories can kind of leak into each other, you know? He is somewhat of that morale. He is somewhat of that wild card. But he's also just, especially 1992, not now. Now he's a killer to maybe Krispy Kreme. But his physique back then, his explosiveness, I think I got you so beat, man. Come on.
Charles Barkley and the Philly Fanatic.
Charles Barkley and the Philly Fanatic. How funny is that? The Philly Fanatic is getting Charles
There's
all
not
riled
enough food
up.
to go around.
He's getting all riled up. Getting Charles all riled up because he hates Philly. And then and he's going to go in for the kill. I'm feeling good. Charles Barkley, he is He was Zion before Zion existed.
If I was in your shoes, I would be picking Karl Malone, the postman.
I don't regret this pick at all. Chuck is fast. He's deceptive.
In 1992, Chuck is at the top. Like,
that's what I'm saying. This is like I'm playing positionless basketball. You know, the positions are there for a reason. The leader, the killer, and whatnot. But the more you can be versatile and leak into other categories, the better.
Just imagine right now, it's the end of the world. You can either spend it with Brad Stevens and the Golden Retriever, or Charles Barkley and the Philly Fanatic.
I think everyone in Philly would say second category, not even close.
Everyone in Philly, that's fair. All right, moving on here to what do we got here?
I guess we can go. Let's go morale guy before wild card. Let's get wild card for last.
Morale guy. I already have 2 morale guys. Well, one morale guy, one morale dog.
Is Brad Stevens a morale guy? That sets me something as well.
Any Avatar character who can't bend elements. I'm going with Sokka.
He was the OG morale guy.
Sokka is the morale guy.
He is the morale
guy.
Wow.
I'm spending the apocalypse with Sokka, Brad, and the Golden Retriever. We're turning out great. The apocalypse. I don't even care about the zombies anymore. We're just having good old fun, finding some secret tunnels.
This is definitely the all. Let's just enjoy what we got.
I have 3 morale guys. Is what I
will
have.
remind you that the question is surviving. Like the thumbnail would say, surviving the zombie apocalypse, not enjoying the time before the zombie apocalypse takes you over. But let's move on. Let's move on to.
Oh my gosh! I just realized I could have gone Appa. That would have helped a lot.
Oh my gosh! You totally could have. You could have gone Appa. You could have gone.
Appa would have just saved the whole thing. If Appa starts eating people, Avatar: The Last Airbender is like this long.
I said any person. Is that how I phrased it?
You said any Avatar character who can't bend elements. Oh, I could have had Appa. I'll take Sokka. He's the morale guy. That's what I needed. Damn.
You would have too many animals. Appa and the Golden Retriever, right? Too many animals.
You can never have enough.
Alright, so for my morale guy, any WWE superstar all time, I think the obvious answer is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
He's, first of all, again, talk about other categories leaking to others. This guy can kill something. I know he can. Look how big he is. I got Chuck and this guy. Man, do I have to do anything? Like the fact that, listen, I know the Philly Fanatic and how the way he communicates is questionable, but I got Charles Barkley and The Rock side by side. I don't care who I'm running into in this Mad Max zombie apocalypse. I'm feeling pretty good.
Fair enough. The Philly Fanatic, I feel like that's still what's holding you back here.
Listen, you're just mad because you have Sokka, who's the Golden Retriever of a person.
He has a boomerang!
An actual Golden Retriever. And then Brad Stevens, who might be the Golden Retriever of coaching.
Me and Brad on the porch, and Sokka's throwing the boomerang to the Golden Retriever, catching it in his mouth.
I think you got 3 Golden Retriever archetypes. Anyways, wildcard. This can change everything.
This is the intangibles guy. I would love a pick here of someone or something that could kill a zombie. That'd be super nice for this apocalypse scenario. This is the biggest piece of paper in the thing. Any recurring commercial actor. Don't say AT&T girl.
I did that
there goes my pick.
I did that for your benefit. I did that for the benefit of the show.
Any recurring commercial actor. Jeez. Stall for me while I can try and think of some. But someone besides
Can I help you?
Someone besides Flo.
There's the Allstate guy.
Can I pick like Tony the Tiger is recurring?
Yeah, anyone who's recurring in a commercial.
Allstate guy.
Wild card. He's wacky. I know one really good example.
New Chris Paul.
That's true. I know one. Again, this is like the moose category. Like I know one that's actually perfect, but I don't want to.
I'm not gonna go with the cereal mascot. That's wimping out. I'm not gonna go with a mascot of like a restaurant or something.
Okay.
It's wimping out.
Okay.
It's wimping out. Like
okay.
I'm going true. Like this person represents a brand, and it's gonna be. Oh jeez. I'm going with. For lack of the fact that I cannot think of another commercial with a better character, stalling for time, I'm gonna go with the new Chris Paul.
I think the new Chris Paul's a good pick.
Carlton? I have to go all into the morale team.
I would have gone with the Cocoa Puffs.
Cougar for Cocoa Puffs, yeah.
Whatever bird that is. Biggest wild card ever. Things bouncing off the walls.
I'm gonna watch a commercial later of like some killer, some hunter, and it's gonna drive me nuts that like I couldn't remember that.
Dude, the guy pretends to be Chris Paul though. That's who you're talking about, right?
Yeah, Carlton.
Is that Carlton?
Carlton. from Fresh Prince.
And all I know is that that character, he's jumping out of windows.
He's a master of espionage in disguise.
I will say, like, it takes a wild person to break into a millionaire's mansion every day.
He's an architect of a wild card. He
really almost exactly is a wild card.
He's trying to take over Chris Paul's life. Like he's telling his son to call him dad.
It almost gets to the point of criminal, which I think is exactly what you need.
Totally.
Which is exactly what you need. So I don't think that was a bad pick. Cocoa Puffs Bird can definitely kill a zombie Cocoa Puffs from on their side. That's all I know. My wild card: any superhero with no powers. Ooh.
I gave you two good options.
You really gave me two good options.
Now here's the fun part: is that James knows no superheroes. I have no idea who's gonna pick, but he's not gonna pick the right one.
I guarantee you it's gonna be such a well-known thing. But my wild card: no powers, Batman. I'm going Batman. This guy will catch somebody filling up soda with their water cup and start beating in his ribs. He's that kind of guy. He thinks listen. No one can kill, license to kill, whatever. I don't know his catchphrase, but he'll beat someone to shit for the littlest things. He's that kind of wild card, and he keeps all the villains in Arkham. He knows they're gonna get out of the asylum. He knows that he's in a perpetual sense of just wanting to capture criminals and whatnot. He's a crazy person. This is the wild card of everyone's dream.
Just to line it up side by side before we debate this, I've got Brad Stevens the leader, I've got a golden retriever the killer, I've got Sokka the morale guy, and I've got the new Chris Paul Carlton as the wild card. You have as your leader the Philly fanatic. You have as your killer Charles Barkley, prime Charles Barkley. You have morale guy Dwayne Rock Johnson, and you have wild card as
Batman. Bruce Wayne.
So let me just say something before this ends very quickly. You have to stay alive. You have to stay alive, and I am going to be with four guys who I would love spending my time with, would love to be alive with. If you're stuck and it's the Philly fanatic and Chuck bickering and Batman and The Rock, you're killing yourself.
This sounds like
you're killing yourself before the zombies ever kill you.
This sounds like a blast. You know, the thing is if I ever get upset, if it's ever too much for me, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's going to take me to the side. Like, hey man, I've seen him do it in a million family movies. He's got the abilities to diffuse a situation. He's that guy. Every category leaks into each other. All these guys are killers. All these guys are morale guy. All these guys are wild card. It's perfect. It's perfect. We don't have a leader. That is true. But it doesn't matter. If you're going and some random Mad Max community comes up to you and they're like, yeah, we're gonna kill you for everything we got, and you're staying next to a golden retriever and Brad Stevens, or you're staying next to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Batman, and Chuck, who are you picking?
I will concede that you are surviving the zombie apocalypse, but I am enjoying.
You're living the zombie apocalypse.
Honestly, like zombie apocalypse, like aliens, whatever. If I could pick any 4 people to hang out in a room with, it would probably be Brad Stevens, a golden retriever, Sokka, and the new Chris Paul Carlton. That's a squad. That's a good hang right there.
It's a good hang. It's a good hang, but you'll be hanging for about a couple of days. Enjoy it while it lasts. I think it's safe to say that I got the dub here. Right?
Congrats, James. You're 2-1. 2-1 out of a hat. You survived.
Yes.
Didn't ever think that a team, out of a hat team with Charles Barkley and the Philly Fanatic could ever win anything.
I mean, listen, I'll take the dub and we'll walk away from this situation. We'll walk away from this whole entire thing.
I'm just glad that we won't have to deal with that situation in real life ever. Probably, maybe. The year's not over yet. Unlike the zombie apocalypse, sometimes in sports, all you can do is just lay down and die. All you can do is phone it in. And, you know, you're trying to get your coach fired. You're trying to get some new talent. We've seen tanking take over a lot of these leagues. And we're just going to get into it. Our next deep dive, does tanking work in the NFL? Depending on who you ask, tanking can be either one of the greatest innovations or greatest threats to competitive sports entertainment.
It's a simple enough concept. The worst team gets the best pick. And spending one whole year in last place can land you a franchise-saving talent.
We've seen its success in the NBA. As hard as it's been to watch, tanking NBA teams collect the best upcoming talent year after year.
In the NBA, however, there's only 5 guys on the court, so it really only takes one to turn it all around.
Today we debate whether the practice of tanking can be effectively applied to the NFL.
There's a much bigger margin for error tanking in the NFL than any other sport.
With only 16 games in the season, you could be the worst team, but if you manage to scrape 3 wins together, you might have just cost yourself the first pick.
And unless you're getting a franchise QB, that #1 overall pick won't turn your entire franchise around like it might in the NBA.
It's worth mentioning, however, that in the NFL, if you get the first pick, you're picking at the top of every round. If you play your cards right, you can turn that into some talent.
Let's dive into this analysis by looking at the 3 worst teams in the NFL of the last 20 years and see how their tank seasons worked out for them.
The 2007 Miami Dolphins were doomed before they ever got started. Nick Saban's accomplishments as the Dolphins head coach include vetoing a trade that would have landed Drew Brees in Miami and outright lying about not accepting a job as the head coach of Alabama.
The 07 Dolphins brought a new head coach, Cam Cameron. He used a number of quarterbacks to squeeze out 15 losses and just 1 overtime win in this kind of pathetic season.
Over the middle, Camarillo's got it! 40! He might 30! He may throw the deep the Bobby
Miami cleaned house the following year. Cameron was fired, and owner Wayne Huzanga sold the team to Stephen Ross.
In the 2008 draft, Miami drafted future Pro Bowl Jake Long with the number 1 overall pick. Got quarterback Chad Henne in the 2nd round, as well as 5 other linemen.
To the naked eye, the Dolphins tank worked. They got a quarterback for the future, and they went 11-5 next year with new head coach Tony Sparano.
Their success, however, was short-lived and misleading. 2008 was Chad Pennington's only healthy season in Miami, and it was the only year the Wildcat offense had any kind of success.
They've pulled out all the stops here in New England.
In the 11 years since the Wildcat, Miami has averaged 7 wins a year, only breaking into double-digit wins once.
Miami's tank, if it was a tank, turned out to be a failure. Quarterback Chad Henne never became a franchise QB, and all the other pieces they drafted didn't turn out to much either.
Moving on to our next tank season, we have the only team in league history to fail to win one single game. We have the 2008 0-16 Detroit Lions.
The Lions were 7-9 the year before, and hadn't won more than 9 games in the previous 10 seasons.
Their tank was impressive. They got blown out in all but 5 games. Poor Calvin Johnson was the only receiver on this team to catch more than 1 touchdown.
Following the embarrassing season, the Lions brought in a new GM and a new head coach.
The 3 seasons after 2008, the Lions went 2-14, 6-10, and then in 2011, coach Jim Schwartz finally got them a playoff spot with 10-6.
What changed to cause this improvement? Let's look back at the 2009 draft. The Lions' prize for being the worst team in NFL history? A guy named Matt Stafford.
Stafford and the Lions haven't been perfect, but we did see a few promising seasons with coach Jim Caldwell, and now we see Matt Patricia trying to bring them back to the postseason.
Despite their imperfections, I'm going to call the Lions' tank a half success. They lost 16 games and got their franchise QB for the next decade and even more. If the front office surrounds him with better talent, they would have a lot more success.
The last tanking team covers 2 seasons, but one could say it's lasted a lifetime.
The 2016 and 2017 Cleveland Browns combined for a record of 1-31.
With Hugh Jackson the head coach, they trotted out Cody Kessler, Josh McCown, and RG3 at QB, whose combined efforts got them 1 win.
The 2017 draft saw them get Myles Garrett, David Njoku, and DeShone Kizer, and these 3 additions played a big role in helping the team improve to 0 wins that next season.
Jackson and Kizer really outdid themselves in 2017. The Browns were one of the worst teams ever. They almost managed to beat the Steelers in the last game of the season, but they blew it in the most Browns way possible.
Somehow escapes. Kaiser's pass is incomplete. Right through the hands of Coleman.
The Browns used their 2018 draft picks to grab Baker Mayfield at 1, Denzel Ward at 4, and Nick Chubb in round 2.
They also went and got Kareem Hunt, Jarvis Landry, and OBJ in the offseason. To start the year, people were actually picking the Browns to win the AFC North.
But just the same as the Dolphins and Lions attempt to tank, it only works if you come away with that franchise QB. Miami didn't, Detroit did, and Cleveland
didn't. I'll say it, I don't think Baker's good. If you give me Chubb, Jarvis, Kareem Hunt, OBJ, I can get you 8 wins.
Browns fired Freddie Kitchens after 1 year and moved on to their 8th head coach in 1 decade.
The Browns, Lions, and Dolphins are owners of 4 of the worst 5 seasons of the 21st century. We'll get to the 5th in a second, but first, let's take a look at the overall success and failures of tanking in the NFL.
Yes, tanking gets you some high draft picks, and if you can finish last a couple years in a row, you can rack up some serious talent.
But in organizations as dysfunctional as the Browns, Dolphins, and Lions, the only thing that's been able to completely turn a franchise around is a franchise QB.
Think about the Colts in 2011. They made the playoffs with Peyton Manning for 9 straight years, go 2-14 once, and land the number 1 overall pick.
They turned that number 1 pick into Andrew Luck and instantly went back to their winning ways.
A franchise QB might be the only thing that instantly makes you a better team, maybe the only thing worth tanking for.
That 5th terrible season we mentioned a second ago belongs to the 2019 0-16 Cincinnati Bengals.
The Bengals were a playoff team as little as 5 years ago. In 2019, Andy Dalton led the team to a path of failure. It got so bad that when all-pro wide receiver AJ Green was going to come back healthy in Week 8, they just told him to sit the rest of the season.
The 2019 Bengals saw their fans cutting eye holes in paper bags, but it got them exactly what they wanted.
The success of the Bengals tank comes down to whether or not Joe Burrow is that franchise QB that they hope he is.
Therein lies the key to success for any NFL team that chooses to tank. A 6-10 team is probably getting a top 10 pick, so the only real way to tank is to be the absolute worst of the worst.
And the only real way to see success with that draft is by getting that poor QB that's tasked with saving a franchise.
Suck for luck worked. Blow for Burrow worked. If you get that franchise QB, tanking can work.
But it's a dangerous game to wait for some QB to come along and save you.
Speaking for the Cleveland Browns and my Miami Dolphins, that search for a savior can take decades. Tanking one season to get that franchise QB is tempting.
But if you bet on that and it doesn't work, all you're left with is disappointment and a losing football team.